Hey everybody, welcome to episode 13 of the How Good Is Your Overwatch League Team series. In this episode, we'll be discussing the Guangzhou Charge. If you don't know how the series works, what I basically do is go over the head coach and the player roster of a certain team in order to help me judge how good I think their Overwatch League team is and to predict where I believe they'll finish in the Overwatch League Season 2 standings. I like to start these videos off by talking about the coach, so without wasting any more time, let's introduce the head coach of the Guangzhou Charge. The head coach of the Guangzhou Charge is Jin, and he has been a coach since 2017 when he decided to stop being a pro player. The previous team that Jin coached was Metabellum. During the time he served as head coach, the team finished in the top 4 of Overwatch Contenders Korea Season 1 and 2. This man is a solid coach if you ask me. He has the experience and previous success needed to coach an Overwatch League caliber team. He should be a good piece for the Charge in this upcoming season. Now it's time to talk about the player roster, and as usual, I'm going to start things off with main tank, and the person who will be playing this position for the Charge is Ryo. Ryo is an 18-year-old South Korean player who comes from Metabellum. Like with his head coach, he too was part of the team when they finished in the top 4 2 years in a row. Ryo has shown flashes of greatness, and he clearly has some potential. He even played well during the Chargers show match versus the Seoul Dynasty. Ryo is someone who could be an important piece for this team in the future. On off-tank we have Hoppa. During his time with the Philadelphia Fusion last season, he was a decent player for them. He wasn't amazing or anything, but he wasn't a below average player either. I know some people will say he isn't very good if the Fusion decided to release him in favor of Poco, but there's no shame in that. Poco is a really good player, so there was really no need for the Fusion to hold on to someone like Hoppa. Hoppa has shown that he is a decent D.Va and Zarya player. He's also shown some good flexibility by flexing onto heroes such as Tracer and even Zenyatta. Hoppa is a capable tank player with previous Overwatch League experience, so the Charge should be happy to have a guy like him on their team. He should be a key player and a leader for them. Ryo and Hoppa are actually the only 2 tank players on the team, so now let's move on to the supports. And Guangzhou has a lot of players here. First up on main support is Chara, and he's going to be the team captain. He also played on Metabellum, kind of like with Ryo, during Overwatch Contenders Korea Season 1 and 2. Chara is mostly known for his ability to play Ana and Lucio, and he is yet another player who's looking to be pretty decent for the Charge in their first season of the Overwatch League. Joining Chara on main support is OnlyWish. He is one of 2 Chinese players on this roster, and the last team that he played for was LGD Gaming in Overwatch Contenders China in both seasons 1 and 2. His team managed to get a 2nd place finish in both of those seasons, by the way. It's hard to say how much time he's going to get on stage, since I don't know how well he can speak English, but I think he definitely could find some time on stage if his English and synergy can end up matching the rest of the team. The first flex support player on the Guangzhou Charge is Rise, who played alongside Chara on Metabellum during Overwatch Contenders Korea Season 2. Rise has shown off a solid Zenyatta in the past, and he'll sure to have some good synergy with his Metabellum teammates. The only problem is, as of right now, Rise is only 17 years old, which means that he'll be ineligible to play on stage with his team until he turns 18 on April 30th, so the first game that he'd actually be able to play in would be in the final week of Stage 2 against the Houston Outlaws. Also on flex support is Shu. Unlike Rise, Shu is old enough to play right away, so we'll be seeing him on flex support duty full time for pretty much 2 whole stages. There's nothing wrong with this at all, by the way. Shu is actually a pretty talented player from the now disbanded Toronto Esports. He had some success while in Contenders North America, since his team was able to qualify for the playoffs in seasons 1 and 2. In the first season, they actually managed to come in 2nd place after losing to the Fusion University in the finals. Shu's looked quite impressive when playing Zenyatta and Ana, but he isn't just good on support though. Shu can also flex onto Widowmaker and play her at a fairly high level. Shu is definitely worth watching if you're a fan of bloodthirsty support players. Now we can finally talk about the DPS players, and oh boy do the Charge have an interesting mix of players at this position. First up is Happy, who is yet another player from the Metabellum core. Happy is considered to be the only true hit scan player on the team, so if we see the meta shift back to a 2-2-2 setup, then we'll surely see a lot of him on stage. But there's a good chance we're going to see him a lot in the starting lineup regardless of the meta, because he has a deep and diverse hero pool. He isn't just good at heroes like Widowmaker and McCree, he can also play Hanzo, Zarya, and Brigitte pretty well too. I personally think that Happy could end up being the best DPS player on his team. Don't be surprised if he hard carries his team a handful of times throughout the 2019 season. The rest of the DPS players on the team are mostly known as projectile specialists and flex players. One of these players is Only Wish's former LGD Gaming teammate, Eileen. Eileen is a Chinese player who is very solid on the projectile role. His Genji and Pharah are no joke, and he's also built up a reputation on Sombra. Eileen is one of the most hyped up players coming out of China, and it's for good reason. Not only has he shown skill at the DPS position, but he's also only 18, which means that he's a young player who still has plenty of untapped potential just waiting to be unleashed one day. Up next is Kib, a flex DPS player who played for the London Spitfires Academy team, British Hurricane, as well as the United Kingdom's 2018 World Cup team. Kib is actually quite good. He can pop off on a variety of different heroes. Some of his best characters include Genji, Roadhog, Sombra, Brigitte, Pharah, and Hanzo. While it's hard to say if Kib will consistently be a starter, his versatility and leadership is sure to be seen as a valuable asset to his team. And last but not least, we have Nero, who is yet another former member of Toronto Esports. He's an American player with a decent Genji and Pharah under his arsenal. Nero unfortunately has his work cut out for him if he wants to get a significant amount of playtime though. I'm not trying to say he's bad or anything, he definitely has potential, but he has some tough competition to go up against if he hopes to be a key contributor on his team. And like with his teammate Rise, Nero is not 18 yet, and with his birthday being on May 31st, he won't be eligible to play on stage until the first week of Stage 3 when the Charge take on the Chengdu Hunters. And that is what the Guangzhou Charge are looking like coming into the second season of the Overwatch League. There are definitely a lot of talented players on this squad, and they surely are a team that should not be underestimated. But the question is, will all of the players on this team be able to mesh together well enough? They have players from 4 different places in the world after all. They have people from South Korea, China, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Since the team doesn't have enough players to make a full Korean starting lineup, I'm assuming this team will primarily be speaking English to communicate with each other. Some of the Chinese and Korean players may not have a lot of English speaking experience yet, so communication could possibly be difficult at times. Since there are so many diverse cultures on this roster, I also have some concerns about the unity of this team. I have no idea if they'll be able to get along with one another and become close with each other. I think there's a good chance that things do work out in the end though, as the Valiant had a multitude of cultures on their roster during Season 1 and everything worked out just fine for them, so I don't see why it wouldn't work out for the Charge as well. If I were to predict where I think the Guangzhou Charge are going to finish in the 2019 standings of the Overwatch League, I'd say they finish anywhere from 15th to 11th place. I have confidence in this team's ability to succeed, and I honestly think they're a sleeper pick to make the end of season playoffs. I like the Guangzhou Charge a lot, and I'm very excited to see how well they perform in the second season of the Overwatch League. And that pretty much wraps everything up here, ladies and gentlemen. That's how good I think the Guangzhou Charge are. If you enjoyed this content, then be sure to hit that like button, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you don't miss the next Overwatch League discussion video here on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.